Hey, my name is Eric, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how to set up an LLC in Arkansas. So one of the important things about this video, though, is we're going to be talking about more than just setting it up, but how to make sure that your LLC is legit. And if you're not familiar with terms such as piercing the corporate veil, registered agent, or commingling funds, you're going to want to watch this entire video because I'm going to walk through each of these items and explain why they're really important towards your LLC to make sure that there are no cracks in it. So one of the first things I want to do is go to the state website, which you can see on the screen right here. And one of the things that you're probably curious about is like, what is the cost of setting up an LLC? So if we click here, you can see that the online fee is $45 and the paper fee is $50. If you go to the paper fee right here, it kind of lays everything out here for you. This is what you'd be filling out, but just know that that $45, $50, there's no way to get around that. If you're going and hiring an attorney to set up your LLC, you're going to spend that $50. If you're doing it yourself through the state website or an online legal tool, you're going to spend that $45 to $50 to get set up. But one of the things I wanted to highlight here, you can see that, there's a lot of questions on this PDF. And one of the things I don't like about the state websites is they don't do the best job of explaining everything. So a good example of that is number 3. It says the name and address of the registered agent of this company shall be, and then there's no context or information for what that is. So what a registered agent is a third party that exists within your state, and they perform several different tasks and duties for your business. Now there's a nice article here on InkFile. If you're not familiar with InkFile, it's an online legal tool. You can set up your LLC on there as well. But if we scroll down here, they have a 5 bullet point list of what a registered agent does. So it's official letters and correspondence from your Secretary of State, service of process notices. So if you were to be sued, making sure that you're showing up to court and getting all the proper documentation, official federal government correspondence information and notifications, tax forms and requests for payment, and requests to complete permits, company filings, or reports. So what a registered agent does is basically helps you dot your I's and cross your T's and making sure that you're compliant with your LLC. Now, the reason that's so important is what an LLC actually does. Like if you can think of it in this terms, your business has assets. It might be, the inventory, the desk, computers, actual finances of your bank account. You have business assets. But when you create an LLC, you draw a division between your business and your personal assets, because your personal assets, you have your personal car, home, personal bank accounts. Now that division between the two, that is what's called the corporate veil. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this video, we talked about piercing the corporate veil. That is essentially legal jargon that means that if you were to be in the unfortunate circumstance that you were sued, what the attorney is going to do trying to sue you is pierce the corporate veil. And basically what they're trying to do is find cracks in your LLC. So if they're able to find a crack in your LLC, what they could potentially do is not only come after your business assets, but also your personal assets, so your personal car, home, and bank accounts. So that's why your LLC is really important, but it's also really important to make sure that it is set up correctly. So having that professional registered agent is going to help you make sure that you are doing things correctly with your LLC, because it's really, really important. So I want to take a moment to talk about when you would hire an attorney. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I am a small business owner who has had to go through a lot of these growing pains and frustrations that you're thinking about getting into. And I can say when you get to the other side, it's worth it, because owning your own business is a tremendous thing. And if you have a complicated system, right? This is the way it was explained to me by an attorney. If your business is doing sales in and out of state, you're going to have to get into things such as domestic and foreign LLCs. Another thing that you might want to consider is if your business is already netting over $50,000 of net profit, right? The reason that you might want to talk to an attorney in that situation is the business structure that you have. You might be able to save on taxes at that point. But for most people setting up an LLC, which is most people, because 85% of all new business entities are LLCs, they just go with the simple route of setting up an LLC. And as your business profits grow, that's when you can kind of get creative with your structures and what you want to do to help save on taxes. But for the most part, most people are fine going the online route. But again, if you have a complex business or if you have a high amount of liability for your business. So what I mean by that is if you were to open up a comic book store, right, and you're just going to sell comic books, not a lot of liability in that situation. But if somebody else was considering starting a tree trimming service, right, there's a ton of liability in that service. There's your own employees that could get injured. You could drop a tree on somebody's car, house, or whatever it may be. So if you have a business that has a high amount of liability naturally with that business, you may want to consult with an attorney as well. So just think about how much money you're making today. If it's over $50,000 of net income, you might want to talk to an attorney who is also a tax specialist. If your business has a lot of liability naturally, you might want to talk to an attorney. And then the third reason is if you're doing sales in and out of state already. So what I want to talk about at this junction of the video is different ways that you can go about setting up your LLC. As I mentioned, if you go through the state website, which all the links that I'm mentioning will be in the description below, including this one, you can get set up through the state. But one of the things that I like about going through a service like InkFile is if you take a look at your state filing fees here and you scroll down, you'll see Arkansas, $50. So it's the same as if you were to do the PDF filing with Arkansas. But the really neat thing is if you go back to the home page, you can see here they've started over 500,000 businesses since 2004. If you click Start My Business, you can put in LLC and then your state of formation. So we're going down to Arkansas. But if you look in the silver package, the starter package here, you can see that it's just $50. So there's no package fee whatsoever. So you might be wondering, like I was, like, why would they have a package that actually has no charge to it? It's just the filing fee. So I'll explain that right here. You can see in this initial package, the thing I want to highlight here is the free registered agent service for a year. So that's how they're making their money on the initial package. Is it is free for them if you use their professional registered agent service, but year 2, 3, and 4 and beyond right now, it's $119. If we go back to this article on registered agents and we scroll down quite a bit here, I'll highlight it right here. That's where you can see this $119 annually after that. So if you do go through with InkFile and go with the silver package, just know that year 2, year 3, that you might have that $119 charge. But again, as we talked about, it's really important that you don't have any cracks in your LLC. So that's why I like InkFile is you can actually get set up and it'll actually be the same price as if you were to go through the state website, but you're also getting a registered agent for free for an entire year. Now, if you do want to upgrade into their other packages in the gold package, there is something I want to highlight here just from an educational standpoint. This is where you can start to see that the package fee has a $149 fee. There's two things I want to highlight here. Now, EIN business tax number. Majority of the time when you're getting set up with your business, you're going to need an EIN business tax number with the IRS. Now, if that's something you need to do and you want to do on your own, I'm going to have this link for you in the description below. As you can see right here, employer ID numbers. This is a great article from the IRS. It helps you apply for your EIN. It also walks you through if you actually need one. I will say from doing this myself as a small business owner, this was a pain in the butt. I wish I just went through a tool like InkFile to do it for me. But if you want to save money, you can do this yourself. The other thing that I wanted to mention right here is a business banking account down here. This is really important for two reasons. So the first reason I want to highlight is the term at the beginning of this video. I talked about commingling funds. Now, when you get set up with your business, you want to immediately set up a business bank account. Right now with InkFile, that is currently through Bank of America. And the reason that's important is if you have your personal bank account and you start running business transactions through it, what that is called is commingling funds. And again, this creates a crack in your LLC. So if you were to be sued, the attorney suing you might say, hey, you've actually been doing this incorrectly. You're using your personal bank account, you're commingling funds. So they might try to pierce the corporate veil and then be able to come after not only your business assets, but your personal assets as well. So really important day one that you get set up with this business banking account. But the other reason it's really important too is when it comes to accounting or tax time, it's a lot easier if you have all of your accounting being handled in that business banking account. So all the income coming in and income going out, it's very easy to see that was all related to your business and you're not trying to figure out what was what compared to your personal bank account. So really helpful thing right there. Now they do have the platinum package as well, which has an extra fee on top of that. This is really great for people who need different business templates, or if you need an expedited process, or if you want to just kind of like knock a bunch of stuff off the list, such as getting your domain name and your business email all set up for you, you can go with that route. Now, one other thing I want to highlight here is if we were to click the gold package here in the middle and we open this up, on the right hand side here, it talks about a tax savings benefit. This is a fully deductible business expense. So the last thing I want to talk about is the $50,000 of net income I talked about earlier in the video. This video on the screen right here, this is an LLC versus an S-Corp. That video is really helpful for understanding why in the future you may want to consider an S-Corp for your business. All right, guys, thanks again for watching and using my links in the description below, and I'll catch you in that next video.